Someone knows where she is. Those words tonight came from Greenbelt's police chief. He was talking about the mysterious disappearance of Mariame Toure Sylla. She teaches at a French immersion school in Prince George's County. She has not been seen since July 29th. Her sister arrived in the U.S. from the Ivory Coast, where both women were born and raised, to help with the search. News 4's Jackie Benson has the latest.
Mariame is missing. We are all concerned.
Within minutes of her arrival in the U.S. from her home in Ivory Coast, Fati Toure was holding back tears as she pleaded for help in finding her sister.
I would like my Mariame come back. We love her. We need her. Please, Mariame, come back.
Mariame Toure Sylla, 60, is a teacher at the Dora Kennedy French Immersion School in Prince George's County. Students and teachers call her Madame Sylla. She was last reported seen July 29th, heading out for an evening walk in Greenbelt's Shram Hills Park across the street from her home. Ivory Coast's ambassador to the U.S., no relation to the missing teacher, personally requested the community's help.
An appeal to the Ivorian community and also to the African community and all those who knew Mariame, her friends, her neighbors, every single person who may have some relevant information.
Mariame Toure Sylla is described as a devout Muslim who never misses prayers. The park she was headed to has been searched by state and local law enforcement. Her teaching colleagues and students have handed out hundreds of flyers with her picture on them in the community.
I believe that somewhere out there is somebody who has seen her, knows where she is, and can provide important information as to her whereabouts.
Police say they have searched her bank account, phone records, and social media, but found no indication of where she might be.
Just into our newsroom tonight, an arrest has been made in that case of a missing Greenbelt teacher we've been closely following.
Yeah, at this point now, police are confirming she was murdered, and they just charged the accused killer.
It's now been nearly a month since a second-grade teacher from Greenbelt, Maryland went missing. Today, Mariame Toure Sylla's family, friends, and students and staff gathered at her school for a vigil just one day before the start of the school year. They are desperately hoping for her safe return. News 4's Mauricio Casillas joins us live now with the very latest on this search for this beloved educator. Mauricio?
Sean, good evening to you. As you can imagine, it was a bittersweet feeling here at the Dora Kennedy French Immersion School as students and staff are going to be without one of the pillars of this school in Mariame Toure Sylla, or Madame Sylla, as they called her. Dozens of people coming together to pray for her safe return and to just lean on each other during these difficult times. Students, fellow teachers, and community members all spoke about how important she is. Toure Sylla was last seen July 29th going for a walk at Shram Hills Park, which is nearby her apartment. A family member who lives with her reported her missing the next day. An exhaustive search of the park led to no clues about her disappearance. We can tell you that Greenbelt Police, as well as other state and federal agencies, are all investigating her disappearance, but there are no major developments in the case at this time. And while everyone's still hopeful she's out there somewhere, they'll have to move on without her for the start of this school year.
Do what we believe Madame Sylla would have wanted us to do, which is continue to press on and make sure that each students are seeing the best version of themselves through the direct teaching of French.
We need you. We love you. Everybody is is looking for you. Please come back. We need you.
This is just devastating news.
They can't believe she's gone. Mariame Toure Sylla was a beloved teacher at the Dora Kennedy French Immersion School in Greenbelt, where she was known as Madame Sylla.
She was planning on retiring a year from now. She had purchased a home on the Ivory Coast back in Africa. She was praying to move home.
Police say an evening walk in Greenbelt's Shram Hills Park near her home on July 29th somehow put the victim into the path of 33-year-old Harold Landon III of University Park, now in custody. Days later, someone walking around this pond next to an industrial park on Old Alexandria Ferry Road in Clinton made a gruesome discovery. DNA eventually confirmed the dismembered remains were those of the missing teacher. The absolute horror of the circumstances was written on the face of her sister. Dr. Fatima Toure as the arrest was announced.
To say to all of the young people who love Miss Sylla, who we've heard from over the last few weeks, the second grade students that she taught, to tell all of those students as well that we express our condolences and grief to them as well.
Prince George's County Police Chief Malik Aziz says the murder appears to be a random crime.
You know, when we are investigating these type of things, we always leave a door open for something that, you know, could have been missed. But our detectives have been working really hard to make those connections, and we haven't found any connection that these two people knew each other, and I don't believe they knew each other.
Police confirmed that the same day Mariame Toure Sylla's remains were found here. Harold Landon III was locked up on an unrelated domestic violence charge.
Yeah, breaking news, and it is heartbreaking news for so many people in Greenbelt, the school community at the Dora Kennedy French Immersion School. They hoped for a very different outcome. But yes, police are now confirming that, in fact, this teacher, Mariame Sylla, was in fact murdered. And they announced the suspect a little while ago. We can show you his mugshot. His name is Harold Landon III, and he is from roughly the Hyattsville area, has a little bit of a criminal history that we saw. He's been under arrest on a domestic violence charge that we're told is unrelated since early August. But police did find a dismembered body in early August. There was a suspicion that it could be the missing teacher. The body was found in Clinton. They needed DNA testing to confirm that, in fact, it was Mariame Sylla, and they got that, and they were able to move ahead with the arrest. The teacher vanished July 29th. She went for a walk in a park in Greenbelt, right near her home, like she always does. No one heard from her. Her friends leafleting the community, putting up flyers, going door to door, asking for help, reaching out to me, to this reporter, asking us to give this case attention. But again, we found out today, confirmed today, that the worst fears were realized. We just left a press conference. The county executive, the teacher's sister, was there sitting by silently as the chief of police spoke.
They are putting together the pieces of a puzzle to try to find out. I will say this, though. You know, motives in these cases, even if it exists, there in no way would it bring any resolve to a family for this whatever reason. It's senseless. It doesn't make any. It's the type of violence is depraved.
Yeah, look, that was the chief answering a question as to what possibly prompted this. They believe that this was a perfect stranger, that they did not know each other, and they believe, the police and investigators and prosecutors, that Madame Sylla, as they called her at the French Immersion School, was abducted as she went for a walk. And again, her dismembered body was found just a couple of days later in Clinton, and it took a while for the DNA to come through. One sad footnote, we learned today that this teacher had plans. She was from the Ivory Coast, and she planned to retire soon, take her pension, and go back home. That was her dream.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brian Fisher, the manager of the Prince George's County Media Relations Division for the police department. And I'd like to welcome you all here today. We have the leaders of Prince George's County here today to provide a significant update on the homicide investigation that you all have been covering for the past couple months. First, I'd like to introduce our Chief Aziz, and I'd like to bring up the leaders of Prince George's County.
Good afternoon. I am Malik Aziz, Chief of Police, Prince George's County. Today, I would like to announce the arrest of 33-year-old Harold Landon III of University Park, Maryland, for the murder of 59-year-old Mariame Sylla of Greenbelt, Maryland. The Prince George's County Police Department has worked in partnership with Chief Bowers and the Greenbelt Police Department, the FBI Baltimore Field Office, Anne Arundel County Police Department, Charles County Sheriff's Office, the Calvert County Sheriff's Office, Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center, and the Maryland National Capital Park Police, Chesapeake Search and Rescue, Calvert County K-9 Search and Rescue Team, and the Prince George's County State's Attorney, Aisha Braveboy, and her team to bring this case to justice and give the family a degree of comfort. I extend my condolences to Dr. Fatima Toure, who is over to my right, and that we bring a degree of justice to her and her family upon the senseless murder of her sister, and we have full intentions to bring that forth in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. On July 29th, 2023, Miss Mariame Sylla went for an evening walk in the 6900 block of Hanover Parkway and did not return. A friend of the family contacted the Greenbelt City Police Department to report her missing. On August 1st, at approximately 4:30 p.m., a concerned citizen contacted PGPD police concerning what appeared to be human remains in the 7300 block of Old Alexander Ferry Road in Clinton, where a dismembered body was discovered. Through various investigative techniques and tireless work of detectives, they were able to develop Harold Landon III as a suspect in this murder. Detectives discovered that he was in the park at the same time of the abduction and later identified through his vehicle. Through DNA evidence, the remains were identified as those of missing teacher Miss Sylla. Miss Sylla was a much beloved teacher and a member of our community, a valued member of our community. But I want to thank the men and women of our Prince George's County Police Department's Major Crimes Division Homicide Unit, and that includes the Greenbelt Police Department for their unyielding efforts in their efforts to bring to justice Harold Landon for the murder of Mrs. Sylla. Lead Detective John Wood, Lieutenant King, Sergeant Russell, Detective Visball, Detective Paz, Detective Lynn, Detective Munawa. They have worked countless and tireless hours in what I believe is the finest homicide unit in the nation to bring Harold Landon to justice. And so I want to personally thank them for their diligent efforts and the coordination with our other counterparts, and especially our relationship with the municipality with Chief Bowers and his team at Greenbelt. Thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our leader, our county executive, Ms. Angela Also-Brooks.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to first express all of our very, very sincere sorrow and grief upon the loss of one of our beloved teachers, Miss Mariame Sylla. She is today acknowledged. The principal of her school is here from Dora Kennedy French Immersion School. I want to thank him for his presence, as well as the president of our Prince George's County Teachers Association. I want to thank her for being present as well, and to say to all of the young people who love Miss Sylla, who we've heard from over the last few weeks, the second grade students that she taught, to tell all of those students as well that we express our condolences and grief to them as well. I want to just, as well as Miss Sylla's family, her sister is here today, Dr. Toure, wanted to also express our condolences to her. And to the men and women of the Prince George's County Police Department, the chief wasn't exaggerating when he said these are some of the finest detectives in the country, and certainly want to thank them for their work. They worked day in, literally, and day out, along with our state's attorney and her team who are here today to bring a conclusion to this case. As well as Chief Bowers from Greenbelt City, wanted to thank him for his leadership and hard work as well. These cases are cases that really do strike at the heart of all of us. To have a beloved member of our community taken away from us in this way is just so devastating. We have so much work to do. Our resolve is strengthened, that we will continue to work hard to make sure that every member of our community is safe. And I'd like to also say that we are in a time, especially as we approach this holiday weekend, where we want everyone. This case is still under investigation, and so we will know at the appropriate time how this case came to be. But I know there are so many, especially domestic violence victims, who are suffering at this moment and want to remind them of the resources that we have available to them at the Family Crisis Center, for example. We'll make that information available, and to say to anyone who is aware of circumstances like this to please make sure they reach out to us and make sure that we can get the help that is needed. So again, thank you to Chief Aziz for his leadership, Mr. Stanton, who is here as well. Want to thank our Public Safety Director and others for their hard work in bringing this arrest forward. And I will hand over now to our State's Attorney, Aisha Braveboy, for her comments as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam County Executive, and thank you so much for our partnership and your leadership of this great county. And I also want to thank my partner, Chief Aziz, for your work on this case, as well as my partner, Chief Bowers, who from the very beginning, when Ms. Sylla was determined that she was missing, worked tirelessly to track every lead down to find her. I want to thank my principal deputy, Jason Abbott, who worked with Chief Bowers, as well as ASA Jonathan Church, who will be handling this case along with myself. So this is a very sad day, very sad outcome. I know that many individuals in our community prayed for Ms. Sylla. I know that our teachers union organized vigils. I know that her school was constantly in prayer, and so I want to thank her principal for being here as well. At this stage of the case, the individual who has been identified as a suspect is being charged. He will be presented to the commissioner for an initial appearance at some point over the next several hours, and we expect him to have a bond review on Tuesday. And so essentially we'll know probably early Tuesday morning that he is on the bond list, but it's very likely that he'll be on the bond list for 1:15 on Tuesday. So we look forward to continuing to update you as we move forward with this case. And to Ms. Toure, we are just, our heart goes out to you. There are no words to express how we feel. I have a sister myself, and I can't imagine losing my sister in this way. And I know that Ms. Elsa Brooks also has a sister. And so that bond that we have is special. And to lose a sibling in this horrific way, it's unimaginable. So we will do everything in our power to get justice for you, for your sister, for your entire family, for our teachers, for our schools, and our entire community. Thank you.
Anything about what this was about? I see that this man has been locked up since early August on a domestic violence charge. Is that in any way related to this? What was the motive here?
Well, the domestic violence charge is not related to this. We don't believe that to be related. If you want information on the domestic violence per se, we have the chief over here. He can answer any questions on that if you would like. Oh. Well, we don't know at this particular time. We don't have any motive. Our detectives, you heard me mention earlier about the hard work that our detectives do. They're putting the pieces together. It is, you hear this term, it's a fluid investigation, it's an active investigation. Those are meaningful words. They are putting together the pieces of a puzzle to try to find out. I will say this, though. motives in these cases, even if it exists, there in no way would it bring any resolve to a family for this whatever reason. It's senseless. It doesn't make any. It's the type of violence is depraved, and it wouldn't make any difference to me. It's just it's disturbing. Any other question? Go ahead.
I am gathering from Brad's question that you do not believe that the suspect and Madam Sylla had any prior contact to their dead?
At this particular time, this appears to be stranger to stranger. At this particular time, when we're investigating these type of things, we always leave door open for something that could have been missed. But our detectives have been working really hard to make those connections, and we haven't found any connection that these two people knew each other, and I don't believe they knew each other. I just think we have a person who decided to go out and commit a horrific crime. The most horrific crime you can do is murder, and do that for some unknown, unjustifiable reason. From my notes, from what I said earlier, when the concerned citizen, that was 7300 block of Old Alexander Ferry Road in Clinton, 7300 block. She went walking in the 6900 block. They found her body in the 7300.